Hello again. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Nehru, and I am the encourager. I would like to start sharing the story of my ascension from dealing with the scorpionic third party spell work, sex magic uh, situation and engagement. I was engaged to this individual, and how I was awakened to what was going on spiritually and the manipulation, and how that triggered me into an awakening, a dark night of the soul, and ultimately into and receiving from um, uh, the ascended masters, the crown that I spiritually now wear. Uh, and this has always been, but obviously we had to go through processes and things in order to get the clarity, mature, uh, and to see things as they truly are in the 5D and not as our physical pupils sees or discerns. Okay? And so, for those who are tuning in for the first time, first of all, thank you so much. Again, as I mentioned, my name is Nehru, and I am an ascended master, earth angel, star seed, and chosen one of the. I am one of the 144,000, and so this is again some things, and I'll be sharing things as we go on. I've just recently started this channel as a step into that. That purpose, that call. If you've listened to any of the videos that I have already posted, you know that one of the big reasons why I came into this life this time, and I volunteered for it spiritually before I was ever birthed, and I was born on 11/29, which is the 333rd day of the year. So there's a 333. Also, those numbers are 11s. So November's the 11th month. The 29th, that's a 2 and a 9, that's 11. And so is 7/4 is also 11. So I've known from a young child that there were some unique things about me, whether it be the way that I speak. Again, I've mentioned this before. I grew up in the projects of Joliet for part of my childhood, and in the other part, I lived with my polygamous father, who I have also started sharing that story. And so, as I share this part of my story, this is uh, um, very, what should I say, new to me in regards to sharing. And again, this is why I created this YouTube channel, is to encourage and to let us know, those of us who are have an ear to hear truth, those who are wanting to function through their consciousness. Neville Goddard said, he once interviewed a man, and I forget the man's name, but he said, "What do you believe the biggest problem with man is?" And this gentleman said, "Man simply doesn't think. Man functions in a subconscious, low vibration place, typically." And so, to prove this, if you've ever been driving somewhere and then you look up and it's probably 5, 10 minutes later, and you've passed by I don't know how many I don't know how many traffic lights, stop signs, whatever, and you don't recollect any of it because subconsciously you're just going through the motions. And that's what most people do. That's how most people live their lives. Go to work, go to school, get an education, go to college, get more education, go to work, retire. The word pension is almost obsolete today. I spent 13 years as a tax accountant. So I am extremely familiar with numbers, and that is something that comes easy to me. I remember credit card numbers, bank account number, all sorts of numbers. My driver's license number. I memorized numbers extremely easily, or very easily. So anyway, so the we'll begin in 2018 when I met this lady, and we met through mutual friends, and we did not start dating until a year later, though. So when I originally met her, I met her, like I said, through a mutual friend, and I was a part of the house or church that I am no longer. I was there for 20 years until I was awakened. And when I was awakened, then I left that place after 20 years, and I was sent there out of the military. I served 8 years in the military, in the Army, Go Army, and I love that because I'm built for that. I'm built soldier, I'm built warrior, that is my spirit nature. That is my spirit man. I'm a lion. 74 is the year of the tiger. And so that is my nature. I thrived in the military and had an exceptional career and record there. But it was time to get out when I did. And that was in 2003. Originally in 2002, but I was called back to active duty to go to military intelligence school because a unit was being deployed and needed a military officer or needed a military intelligence MI officer. And they asked me if I wanted to go. And of course I volunteered because I was as OD green as you can get. And I love the uniform. I love the order. I love the discipline. So anyway, I got out and I I was led to become a part of this house that I was there for 20 years. And so in 2018, I meet this lady and her and our mutual friend. They're wanting to start a company. They want to get into tax preparation, bookkeeping, and as I mentioned, I was a tax accountant for 13 years, and so, or an accountant in some capacity for 13 years. And so they wanted to start this company, and they knew that establishing entities was something that I did, setting them up and so on and so forth, with registration with the state, EINs, and so on and so forth, or employee identification numbers and things, accounting processes and systems and all of that. So they get the company started or get the company set up, but nothing was ever done with the company, come to find out. So the mutual friend never really did anything with it. But a year later, this lady reached out to me and she asked me for, I think she was looking for, she wasn't a part of our house yet. Our mutual friend was by this time, her and her husband and their kids, but she was not yet. Later on, I found out that she said that Holy Spirit told her that her husband was going to be at the Rock. And so, but that wasn't to my understanding, that wasn't the sole reason for her being there. Right? So she said, if I could send her a link to the video for the service or something like that. And I said, oh yeah, sure. So I sent it to her because she could not get in touch with her mutual friend. With a mutual friend, I'm not sure if that's actually the case now. That might have been just a ploy to get my attention. And as I tell this story, you will find out why I think that today, or believe that today. So, she was born on 11/13 of 74, right? So we're just literally 16 days apart in age. Both of us were born in the Midwest. She was born in Ohio, and I was born in Illinois, okay? And so she was already a tax preparer, which I did not know. But she was already doing tax returns. Well, I did know when I met her in 2018, and then when she reached out to me, I asked her if she would she be interested in helping me in my practice, right? Because I had been on my own for a number of years, and she said, yeah, right. So we get together, meet here at a coffee shop in town, and Things are all set, we're good to go, we're talking, da, 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 da. She tells me that when she's leaving, she didn't give thought to me in 2018, I don't believe. However, her story is she went on a ladies' advance with the house that I was a part of. Right? She went on that advance. She was invited by our mutual friend. And there she was really sick, very, very sick. And again, what parts of these are true, I don't know. I can only say what she shared with me because I wasn't there. Right? But she tells me that she became extremely sick there, right? Because she was fighting something that she knew to be true. Now, we had our meeting after, like a week after, they came back from this ladies' advance. And so she tells me that she was sick and this and that. And there, her friend, our mutual friend, you know, they're thick as thieves. And I found out later that there are sexual reasons why that's the case. But anyway, so she says that she was puking and all of that. And her friend, oh man, I got to be careful not to say her name. Her friend said, you know, what's wrong and blah, 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 blah. And she said, you know, that she was fighting something. Whatever the word was to her, whatever the Holy Spirit was speaking to her, she evidently had been fighting that, whatever that was. And I don't know what that was specifically. So she ends up puking or whatever else. And she says there's something to deal with love and her divine husband and blah, 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 blah. And so the mutual friend of ours tells her, or asks her, so-and-so, meaning me, she said me, so he is still an option, right? Right? So I want to share a couple of things, and I shared a couple of things, I believe, in another video, but I want to share a couple of things with you in regards to a twin flame and how to recognize the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame. So I mentioned our birthdays, right? 11/13/74 and 11/29/74. Okay, so that is 8 days. That is 16 days. That is an 8 and an 8. There's a twin. That's a twin, right? There's a mirror there, right? That's what twin flames are. They are the other half of you. Or if you are a divine masculine, they are the divine feminine. If you are the divine feminine, they are the divine masculine, right? All of that, right? And we both have both. We all have. Everyone birth has both evil and good, right? If you imagine the devil's on the shoulder images that we see on TV, and the angel image, right? And by the way, angels can be evil too. That's absolutely. There are evil demonic angels. Or karmic angels. And so we reconnect in 2019, and we have this conversation, and this is October of 2019 now. So we have this conversation after I sent her this. She reaches out to me for some link to a service. And we are off and running, and we are off and running fast. So the other things that we have in common. So I am a kidney transplant recipient and received that kidney transplant on 7/7/17. No coincidence there. 7's been my favorite number my entire life. And 17 is the number of siblings I have because my father was a polygamist. If you want to hear more about that, there's 3 videos posted. There will be more because I haven't shared all of that. So I know that, you know, I'll be posting more, part 3 and who knows how many others, as much as necessary in order to get the truth out there as Divine wants me to share it. Okay? So I end up dating this person, all right? And so again, I am a kidney transplant recipient. She has had a kidney removed. I did not know that at the time, right? So again, another similarity, right? I'm a tax accountant. She does tax returns. Again, similarity, mirroring each other. You see that, right? So recognizing your karmics, men and women, recognizing your karmics, I mean, not your karmics, excuse me for saying that. Recognizing your twin flame is extremely important. And the twin flame doesn't always have to be karmic, turn karmic, be false, turn false. It can work. However, you have to recognize that you are dealing with the other half of yourself as opposed to a soulmate, which is separate, right? They are not the other half of you, right? Okay. So, and so we get together, we start dating in 2019. So I give up my townhouse in town, move in with her, right? And immediately, now I go back in my journal and I can see these things, and I really kind of had to forgive myself for not even paying attention to the things that I was writing down, because I was writing things down, but it wasn't clicking. It wasn't fully registering because I was so emotionally vested because of all the synchronicities, right? That it just, in my mind and emotions, I could not fathom this not being what the Father wanted. Now, the truth is, the spiritual truth is that it was meant to be. That's the spiritual truth. That was his plan A. Yes, it was. That was his original plan. However, man has a will, so man makes choices, right? The Father can say, I am sending you here, but we have a choice. Thankfully, he gives us free will, because there are things that I would not want to go through again, and my free will allows me to not do that, right? So, and vice versa. So we start dating, move in, and immediately early on there are issues, and so I ended up staying in that situation for far longer than what I should have, to the point of her telling me that if she were me, she would have left the situation a long time ago. So when someone says something to you like that, please pay attention, because she was telling me, one, that she wasn't going to change, the situation wasn't going to change, the people she's involved with wasn't going to change, which turned out to be a karmic ex-husband. She's also sexually involved with a transvestite living in Charlotte, North Carolina, that I found out about. And she mentioned this individual, told me she would, every now and then when we were dating, she would update me on, oh yeah, they had this done. Oh yeah, my friend had this done. Oh yeah, they had this done, right? She took trips up there to see. I thought nothing of it. Why? I love unconditionally, and I'm naive in that way, I suppose, or at least I was. I'm not today, needless to say. So, think nothing of it. Why? Because who would think that, right? Who would think that their fiance, we ended up we were engaged and due to be married in December of 2021. That didn't happen. The closer we got to the date, the more and more it fell apart. So this is what I began to see as I began to be awakened. So one, it was originally the Father's plan that we be together. However, because of her choices, we were not able to be. And her focus is money, as I found out. That's all she's concerned about. So she dates for money. She has sex for money. And I don't mean a prostitute in that way. But yes, so wherever she goes, wherever Tinder, wherever, right? She dates men so that they can pay her bills. That's what she does, right? She has a job. She's a paralegal, or at least she was. I don't know what she does today, because karmic justice has fallen upon her and her family. So I don't know what she does today, or if she's working. Again, I stay in that situation. Ultimately, in August of 2020, September of 2021, I end up moving out. I end up so discouraged because of the situation, couldn't figure out why I kept being gaslit. I didn't know what gaslighting was at that time. I had no idea. And so, but come to find out, that's what she was doing because she could not marry me, because she was legally committed to someone else, whether she was married to them or she would not leave them for monetary reasons. And I know one of the individuals that she would not leave is her former husband. Oh, so let me say what this is also another one of those situations. I was in a relationship and the lady ended up getting pregnant. This is years ago, years and years prior to, this is in the 2000s. I was involved with a lady in a committed relationship. She ended up getting pregnant, but neither one of us really wanted children. She had 2 small kids already. Things were already tough for her in raising them, and they were some hell-raising kids. They were, bad, really, really bad. So she didn't want any more kids, and thankfully, her and I, we had a conversation, and we knew of a family that was wanting children, but were not able to, right? And this was a married couple who was associated with the house that I was a part of at that time. She, the lady I was dating, was never a part of the house. It was during my frustrated, why did I get out of the military time frame? And I was a bit rebellious in the early 2000s when I first got out of the military, because things weren't going the way that I thought they should or would or what have you. And so we ended up blessing this family with this child, right? And to speak to that, in my opinion, death is never the answer. Every child that breathes a breath they carry the breath, the pneuma of Yahweh God. Every child. Now, kids are taught hate, they're taught racism, they're taught discrimination, they are taught these things. No one is born knowing those things. They are taught those things. They are shown those things through the actions of those around them, through the words and spirits, vibrations of those around them. No one's born evil. That might be hard for us to believe, given the fact that we have people like Jeffrey Dahmer, Hitler, and such that are birthed. But however, that is not the case. They were not born evil. Something happened in their life that triggered them and caused them to go down that road. However, and no, I'm not a child psychologist, but I am an empath and I am an ascended master, and so I spiritually speak to these things and why they happen, not from a scientific standpoint, because again, I don't have that 3D education. So I move out because things are falling apart in 2021. I move out and I take a job because I'm trying to get away. I realize there is no way this marriage is going to happen. And so I try to get away from the situation. And I took a job further south in Florida. And during that time, I was attempting to put my finances back together, because during the time that we had been together, I was losing clients left and right, and I couldn't understand why. And so what I ended up finding out was, because of the spell work and because of her greed, she was, one, stealing money from me, is one thing, and two, she was jealous of me. And so she was doing things to counter my success, right? And to show you, I by myself built a 6-figure accounting and tax practice, right? By the time, and that was in 2019, by the end of 2020, I probably had I would say a third of the clients I had when we first started seeing one another. And again, it wasn't clicking that was something being done behind the scenes that I was not seeing in the 5D that was being done. So I continued to try to make the relationship work, even though the writing was starting to be revealed that was on the wall. Okay? Now, this began, once I moved out, this began my awakening or ascension process. Okay? So when I moved out in 2021, I had an office in Daytona Beach, and I actually stayed at that office for months. Because one, I had spent $2,000 a month plus, not counting fuel, running back and forth up here, from Central Florida to down South Florida, right? For this job, as I was looking for a place. She did not help, assist, did not ask about gas money, fuel, nothing, right? She did not care what I was doing, or at least that's what she showed. I'm going to assume she didn't. Where I was going, how I was doing, nothing, none of that. She was in her own world because she was in relationships and dealing with others who I had no idea about. So what ended up happening was to show the Father's faithfulness to say that yes, this was ordained by me. However, choices have been made to where this is as far as I could take it. Our wedding date was scheduled for December 11th of 2021. And again, no coincidence I picked that date because that's who I am. Right? Synchronicities and things like that are extremely significant to me. And so I picked 12/12. That date is the same frontwards and backwards, right? 12/11, 12/11, same way for that particular year, right? And so I said, so I moved out, So I moved out. And then what ended up happening was a friend I've known for 30 plus years, him and his wife, they have a timeshare or condo in the same place at the same resort that we were going to have the wedding at. He reached out to me and he says, we got this, we reserved it for the wedding weekend. The wedding's been postponed because we originally postponed it. We didn't cut it off completely, we postponed it, or we were going to. And he says, we want to gift this to you guys as our wedding gift, and so you guys go in. So actually on our wedding weekend, the weekend that was scheduled, we actually did spend the weekend. That was the last time, I believe, we did spend the weekend together in the same place that we were going to be if the wedding had gone through. That's how faithful the Father is to show us that it was meant to be. However, things have changed. There's been a shift because of choices that were made. So, and by the way, I wasn't completely innocent 100% in this situation. The lady that I was married to for a few years, it's interesting. The two women that I've been married to, neither one of them wanted to go back to their maiden names. And I don't know what that says about me or them or whatever, but this wife, the first one and the second one, neither one of them wanted to go back to their maiden names. So, but the second wife, she refused to sign the papers, right? And so I had to get an attorney involved. But by the time I'd gotten an attorney involved, me and this twin flame had started seeing each other. So I had to come clean to her. Hey, it's not, that's not final. Her husband or her former husband, I don't know what it is. He would contact her from day one. He was out to destroy this relationship. Okay. So he was the karmic catalyst. So he told her, hey, do you know he has an office in Daytona? Hey, do you know he has this business? Hey, do you know this? And of course she did, right? She knew all of that, right? But he also told her that my divorce was still in process and not final, right? So she got upset. And I understand that, again, like I said, I wasn't completely innocent in this. this, right? And so she mentioned it too, and immediately I told her I was trying to take care of it, and really keep it, not even bring that up, right? And again, that's my miscalculation. Okay, so I have no problem admitting that to her then, and I have no problem saying that today to you all. So what ended up happening was I ended up getting the divorce finalized, right? But I came to find out that she was in a relationship with someone, right? And this is after we had separated, right? When it was all starting to come together and make sense to me. So come to find out, also, the individual who was a mutual friend, she's sexually involved with, right? So she's bisexual, right? I did not know that. And in fact, I believe she prefers men over women. Prefers women over men, actually. But because of the quote unquote shame that the church looks at that in, she's been in church her whole life. She was, secretary at one of the churches she was a part of, and the worship leader, and right, all that sort of thing. However, right, so she did not want to bring shame upon herself and live her truth out loud, so to speak, because of the religiousness and traditions of the religious church, right? So she chose to keep that on the DL, okay? So she told me when we were together, she said that she used to do some pretty devious stuff, like she would forge papers and stuff, and she told me these things. She's forged papers and documents and things of that nature. And again, I thought nothing of it. Why? I don't know. You don't do that anymore. She told me she didn't do that anymore. I was like, oh, okay. But come to find out, she ended up continuing this, right? And so she ended up forging my name on documents, right? And again, this is the spiritual side of a twin flame that turns karmic or false because of greed. Some of them do it for sexual reasons, monetary reasons. Who knows? There are a number of reasons why, right? Manipulating, maybe they're being manipulated. There's a number of reasons why a twin flame turns karmic or turns false. So because of her choices, she did turn false, even though the original purpose from the Father was for us to bring forth the next star seed, the golden child for us. I'm not saying the only one, obviously, but that was his plan for us, right? We were to be that couple that was to do that and go